This meeting of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders is hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Mercado.
Here.
Freeholder Pomares.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Sebo. Here. Freeholder President Gill.
Here. Please stand for the salute to the flag. I'm going to ask that Freeholder Pomares lead us in the salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask everyone please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Recognizing Vice President Freeholder Richardson and recognizing Freeholder Johnson. Madam Clerk, I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Mr. President, there are two. The conference board meeting, December 14th, 2017, and organization meeting, January 2nd, 2018.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion and a second to approve the transcripts?
I'll move it. I'll second.
Moved by Vice President Richardson, seconded by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to the public comment session on agenda item. Tonight's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. So if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, Madam Clerk. Seeing none. If there is any member of the public who would like to comment on any issue, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. Again, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there is no one wishing to speak at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for introduction or first reading?
Yes. Mr. President, may I ask for a pause? I have a page missing from my agenda.
You can have a pause. I don't know if that's a parliamentary term, but I'm happy to give you a pause.
Our counsel's there.
That's page 84 of Robert's.
Exactly. That's 8 Robert Rules.
Would you get me an agenda from the front, please? Is it a parliamentary term, Mr. President?
It is now. It is now. We just created a new rule for Robert's Rules.
All right. Mr. President, I can now answer your question. Mr. President, for ordinance on resolution and introduction on first reading, there are none.
Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for listing purposes only?
Mr. President, we have one. Ordinance number O-2018-0004. Ordinance to amend ordinance O-1979-00089 as revised the Code of the County of Essex, Chapter 130, Streets and Sidewalks, addition of Article 3 and 130-8.
Okay. Madam Clerk, you can list ordinance O-2-2018-0004 for public hearing at our February 21st meeting. All right. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions on second reading and public hearing tonight?
Mr. President, there are three. The first ordinance is ordinance number O 2018-0001, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements by the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $18,150,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $17,275,000 bonds or notes of the county for financing such appropriation.
Okay. Okay, Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number O 2018-0001.
Hold on, I think we should take this one on its own, because it's a bond ordinance and it requires two-thirds. Maybe just take that one. for public
Okay, we'll
hearing
take,
on its
so we'll take,
own. Ordinance number
so,
one.
so we will take ordinance number 1, which is a bond ordinance for capital improvements. Alone, Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance number O-2018-001, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements by the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $18,150,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $17,275,000 bonds of notes of the county for financing such appropriation.
It's ordinance dash, like R dash.
Okay. I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O 2018-00001 open. If there is any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this ordinance, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, Mr. Parlavecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
Just a brief comment, Mr. President. This ordinance was discussed at a prior meeting on introduction. It's basically to finance the cost of a number of improvements throughout the county and throughout the year.
Okay. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Council, should we take this on its?
Yeah, we
on
would take
its
a
own?
motion to close
So-
the public hearing and then a motion to
Yep.
adopt.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Council. Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on ordinance O-2018-0001?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Moved by Vice President Richardson. Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Jones. Do I have the same mover and a second to approve the ordinance?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to ordinance number 2, I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2018-0002 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this ordinance, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Hearing or no, I'm going to do them individually. Hearing or seeing none, Mr. And that's, Mr. Parlavecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No comments.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on ordinance O-2018-0002?
So moved.
Moved by Freeholder Mercado. Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Johnson. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to ordinance number 3, Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance number O-2018-0003, ordinance amendment to the county ordinance O-2013-0014, as amended by ordinance number O-2016-007 and ordinance number O-2016-0026 to allow for the sale and serving of alcohol, beer and wine only at Verona Boathouse, effective July 1st, 2018.
I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2018-0003 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this ordinance, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Parlavecchio, seeing none. Mr. Parlavecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
Just briefly, Mr. President, again, this only affects the boathouse at the Verona Park, and we went through this fairly thoroughly at the January 17th meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Parlavecchio. Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholder Luciano.
Mr. President, just want to put on record, as our counselor made us aware, we did discuss this in detail back in January. This will provide revenue to the county and will be monitored by our employees, who will be trained professionally to make sure that they are not serving any member of the public in any excessive capacity. This does take place July 1st, and this isn't the first time Essex County has entered into a similar agreement. I know we have this same policy at our zoo, and we have had no problem since it has been implemented. So I just wanted to put on record that I support this in Verona, which is in my district, and I would like to make a motion.
Thank you, Freeholder Luciano. Before we take that motion, are there any other questions or comments before we entertain that motion from any of the other freeholders? Okay. We have a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mr. President.
Second by Freeholder Pomeris. Do we have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Yes.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
No.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to resolution number 1, which is an advice and consent nomination for an appointment to the Essex County College Advisory Board of Trustees. Please read it.
Advise and consent nomination for the appointment of Marion A. Bolden to the Essex County College Board of Trustees.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, can you please explain the resolution?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you know, Mr. President, as you know, we have some vacancies, 2 vacancies, as a result of resignations from the College Board, and the County Executive is very pleased to nominate for one of those positions Dr. Bolden, and she is here to answer your questions, I believe.
Not here. She's not here.
I don't know. She might be in the hallway. She's supposed to be.
Yeah, we'll table it if they want to hold it for. Just table it for now.
Then we will have to bring her
Yeah,
back.
Mr. Jackson, I do believe, I think that the board needs to hear from
Absolutely.
Dr. Bolt. So, do we need,
No,
Counsel, do
we
we
could just
need?
table that. We're not adjourning it yet, so
Okay.
let's just table it. If she comes a little bit later,
Okay.
we can move to number 2.
Okay. Is number 2 here?
I'm sorry.
Before we start this, okay, there we go. I was just asking if number 2 is here, but I see that they're here before we started the process. Moving on to resolution number 2, Deborah, please read Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
Advise and consent nomination for the appointment of Beth Robinson to the Essex County College Board of Trustees.
Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolution.
Yes, Mr. President. Ms. Robinson is going to be nominated to replace Ralph Chilella, who resigned, to fill his unexpired term ending 10/31/2020. And again, the county executive is very pleased to present her nomination to the board this evening.
Excellent.
She's here to answer your questions.
Seeing that Mrs. Robinson is here,
Yeah.
would she like to make an opening statement to the board? Okay, please, Ms. Robinson.
Hi, good evening. I'm
Good
Beth
evening.
Robinson. I've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous. I'm interested in becoming a board member for the Essex County College because I'm an alumnus of Essex County College. I'm also a teacher at East Orange Campus High School, and a lot of my students apply and attend that school, so I would like to make sure that it's a great place for them to get an education.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments for Ms. Robinson? Freeholder Siebold.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to support your nomination to this position. Being a former English teacher,
Me too.
I know, that's why I'm saying it, so I can thoroughly support your being on the Board of Trustees, so I think that's just great.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments or questions, freeholders? Ms. Robinson, thank you for your willingness to serve and to participate. I will say for the record that you are stepping into a position in what is probably the most critical time in this college's history.
Okay.
So the challenge that's before you, both individually and on the board, is immense. So thank you for raising your hand at this time. As often as said, we didn't necessarily ask for this, this point in history, but we answer the call to serve. So thank you for your willingness to do so. Do we have a motion and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. And Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Madam Clerk, moving to resolution number 3, can you please read the resolution?
Resolution 3, Office of the County Council Memorandum of Understanding between the County of Essex and the State of New Jersey, Office of the State of Medical Examiner.
Mr. Jackson, can you please explain the resolution?
Yes, Mr. President. This is a memorandum of understanding between the state and the county, and our corporate counsel, Ms. Gassion, is here to explain.
Good evening, Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council. As Mr. President, as Mr. Jackson indicated, this is a memorandum of understanding between the County of Essex and the State Medical Examiner's Office. This memorandum of understanding will assist the county in assigning more keeper duties to the County of Essex. By way of background, pursuant to New Jersey law, the State Medical Examiner has the general supervision of enforcement of the provisions of the State Medical Examiners Act. Pursuant to that act, the more keepers are required to dispose of dead bodies as directed by the County Medical Examiner. Essex County, however, falls under the guise of the State Medical Examiner's Office because we do not currently have a county medical examiner. It is necessary for the efficient and expeditious disposal of unclaimed bodies for the county to appoint a moorkeeper at the county level to assist the state medical examiner in the processing of those unclaimed bodies. This memorandum of understanding will first be put into place with your approval for that agreement to happen between the county and the state, and then at our next freeholder meeting, we're going to come before you for the actual appointment of the moorkeeper, who will be Ms. Keisha Burnett, who's a current employee of our Division of Family Assistance and Benefits.
Excellent. Mr. Parlavecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't.
Freeholders, do we have any questions or comments? Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, it's my understanding that resolution number 4 has been withdrawn by the administration, so let's move to resolution 5. Please read resolution number 5.
Resolution 5, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Human Resources, contract with Aetna and the County of Essex for non-state health benefits plan, dental plans for 2018, amount not to exceed $1,370,000.
Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolution.
Yes, Mr. President. As you know, last year, as part of our as we joined the 2017, as we enjoyed the New Jersey State Health Benefits Plan, we continued for those employees who had the DMO plan. We continued that on the supported, or I should say, funded by the county, and we also included all retired employees who were receiving the plan as of 12/31/16. We also included any employee who was active with us as of 12/31/16. It also includes the manager's dental plan for our active managers, which is senior management. This is the same rate as we have for 2017. There's a slight increase this year from $1.3 million to $1.37 million because some additional employees who were eligible last year and didn't take advantage or are taking advantage this year. So it is simply a continuation of the same plan that we had last year that we're providing at no expense to our employees.
Mr. Palavecchio.
Yeah. Mr. Jackson, did you say this was for certain employees who are who choose a certain plan, or is this for all employees and retired employees?
It's for all employees who were here as of 12/31/16, and it's for any retiree who had that plan as of 12/31/16.
Okay. Thank you.
Freeholders, any questions or comments? Mr. Jackson, just again, 1-year coverage, right? Retired and active through the county as of December 31st, 2016. Okay.
Correct, because it was part of our transition into the state health benefits plan. It was an incentive really for people to hop on board in that plan, move into that plan.
Okay, thank you. Again, Freeholders, any further comments or questions? Do I have a mover and a second? Moved by Freeholder Johnson.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 6. Please read the resolution.
Resolution 6, 2018, temporary emergency appropriation from the State of New Jersey, Department of Health and Human Services for Work First New Jersey, Department of Economic Development, Training, and Employment, $11,790,011.
Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolution.
Mr. President, this is a grant that we receive every year from the New Jersey Department of Human Services in the amount that the Madam Clerk just referred to. This is for our 2018 year, which is January 1, the calendar year, January 1 to December 31st, 2018. And it's used to provide a variety of mandated welfare activities for our TANF clients, particularly case management, transportation initiatives, and other transportation-related expenses. And there's no cost to the county at all. It's all grant funds.
Mr. Palavecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No, just by way of explanation, number 6, and I think through the next dozen or so, are temporary emergency appropriations from the state for various departments and for various uses, so it's inserting monies into and grant monies into the temporary budget.
Probably important to highlight no fiscal impact, correct?
And no fiscal impact.
No fiscal impact on the county.
Nope. Positive. That's
Right.
only
This is
positive.
positive. Freeholders, do we have any questions or comments? on resolution number 6. Do I have a motion and a second?
I'll move it, Mr. President.
Moved,
second.
moved by Freeholder Palmaris and
Yes.
second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm now going to ask that we take, I believe, resolutions 7 through 10 are all Division of Community Action. I'm going to ask that we read them into the record at a later time. Starting, Mr. Jackson, could you please explain resolutions number 7 through 10?
Certainly, Mr. President. Mr. Brown and his team are here to go through each of those items with you, and I'll just invite Mr. Brown to come up.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Mr. President and freeholders. These resolutions are very important to our division. The first one, resolution number 7, is our social service for the homeless. That does the prevention of homelessness. You must be able to sustain yourself, but it provides emergency shelters. For example, if there's a fire, something of that nature, but it's a working family, we're able to put them in a shelter for 30 days, 60 days, and possibly get them a month's security, month's rent to where they can move or until their house is repaired, something of that nature. That's 7. On 8, he didn't read 8, so,
They're going to,
Okay.
yeah, we can go through, and Freeholders, why don't we take the questions all at once on number 7 through 10, if that's amenable.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and 8 is intensive case management. A couple of years ago, I'm sure you're aware, you remember those that had disabilities were in a program, but that program was stopped, and the state came up with the intensive case management. Here, the intensive case management, only the state selects the agency, which is Montclair Salvation Army. They select the amount, and the Montclair Salvation Army will work with those, a prevention of, again, rental assistance, case management, et cetera, with those with disabilities. Number 9 is, that's tenant resource that we have. We get that grant actually from housing, and that grant is for our manager, which is Kathy McCary, that she helps guide residents with tenant resource issues. She does not advise them, but what she does is help them and learn, and goes out and does presentations on tenant resource issues. And that money is used for many of those programs to help residents understand their legal rights, and sometimes landlords. And number 10 is the Community Service Block Grant, and that money is used for 3 CAP agencies, Irvington, Montclair, and East Orange, and those are for after-school programs, food pantry, and various programs and the like.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Parlavecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Freeholders, any questions or comments on budget insertions, resolutions number 7 through 10? Freeholder Siebold.
Thank you. Number 9, you're going to have $2,000 less than last year. Will that be a problem?
No, it won't be. We may just do one less program, but we'll manage that well.
Oh, thank you.
Questions or comments, Freeholders? Seeing none, can I have a mover and a
I'll
second?
move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Freeholder Johnson. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on resolutions number 7 through 10.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to both resolutions 11 and 12, which are in the Division of Youth Services. We'll read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, can you please explain resolution number 11 and 12?
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Fisher is here to explain these programs, both of which come from the Department of Law and Public Safety. Mr. Fisher.
Good evening. Lee Fisher, Director of the County Youth Services Commission. Number 11 is our annual comprehensive funding from the Juvenile Justice Commission. The money is available for various programs and services along the continuum of juvenile delinquency, beginning with prevention, disposition option, detention alternative, reentry, and other programs and services that we utilize through the family court and other community-based organizations. We will subsequently RFP. We have RFP in anticipation of this grant being inserted. We will be coming back to you with other programs and services that we'll be recommending for funding based upon an RFP. The number 12, that's an innovation grant. It's via the Juvenile Justice Commission. It's a grant that's provided to counties that are allowed to expand their offerings for those kids or juveniles who've been involved in a detention alternative, such as a supportive work site program where we pay a stipend for them to have 15 hours of work. It tends to be their first work experience. Also, we provide different conferences, more around family engagement, where we bring those juveniles and their guardians together and provide additional services such as expungement, reconnecting with their school system, and the like.
Thank you. Mr. Palavecchio.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Fisher, these grants that you've received in past years,
I'm sorry?
have you received these two grants in prior years?
Yes, since 1995, 96, when the State Community Partnership Grant Program was first implemented.
Okay, and how do they...
With the exception of the innovation grant, it's only been in existence for about 5 or 6 years.
Okay, and how do this year's awards match up to last year's awards?
Been pretty consistent. On average, Essex County is the largest county with the largest serving population, and it's based on a formula. But Essex County has received pretty much the same award. At one time, it was like $995,000 considered partnership, 5 and some odd thousand considered family court, but it's considered a comprehensive grant, along with $55,000 for program management.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palavecchio. Freeholders, do there any questions or comments on resolution number 11 and number 12? Okay, hearing and seeing none, do I have a mover and a second?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson,
Second, Mr. President.
second by Freeholder Palmares. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Abstain.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes,
So moved.
thank you. Moving to resolution number 13, Madam Clerk, we can read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, can you please explain the resolution?
Mr. President, items 13 and 14 are somewhat related. They're both for body armor for 2 departments. The first one, $55,000, is for the Corrections Department, and the second one, item 14, is $10,000, almost $11,000 for the Prosecutor's Office.
Mr. President, would you like me to also read Resolution 14 into the record at a later time?
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. We can then take 13 and 14 together. So we will read resolution number 14 also into the record at a later time. Palavecchio.
I don't have any questions on 13 and 14.
Freeholders, any questions or comments on number 13 and 14? Seeing and hearing none, do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold. Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Abstain.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 15, which we can read into the record at a later.
16, too. It's both the prosecutor's office.
Sure. We will do 15 in resolution calling number 15, calling resolution 16, which we'll read into the record at a later time. Madam Clerk, Mr. Jackson, can you please explain resolutions 15 and 16?
Certainly. Item 15 is another temporary emergency appropriation from the state. It's going to provide $250,000 to supplement the prosecutor's insurance fraud reimbursement program. It helps to that unit that investigates and prosecutes persons committing insurance fraud, including medical, auto, and arson-related fraud. It consists of $245,000 for salaries and fringe benefits and $5,000 for training. It's the same amount as in 2017. Item 16 is another appropriation for the prosecutor's Children's Advocacy Unit, Victims Advocacy Special Victims Unit for 2017. This is training staff that investigate and prosecute cases involving sexual abuse of children, and also provides other support services to the kids and their families. This grant will partially cover the salary and fringe benefits for 4 officers, and it's the same funding as we had in 2017.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Parlavecchio.
I don't have any questions.
Freeholders, comments or questions? Seeing and hearing none, do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Johnson.
I'll second, Mr. President.
Second by Freeholder Pomares. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Abstain.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions number 17 and 18, which are both Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. We will read each resolution into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, can you please explain resolutions 17 and 18?
Mr. President, Mr. Zates from the Parks Department is here to address both of these items.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 17 is a budget insertion for local arts grant program. It's the exact same amount that we received last year. And 18 is the budget insertion for the History Partnership Program, which was also the same amount we received in 2017.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio, any questions or comments?
No, Mr. President.
Freeholders, any questions or comments?
Mr. President.
Freeholder Pomares.
Thank you. Could you give me a sense of, you said this has been kind of flatlined. Has that been the case for a number of years in terms of the amount of money dedicated for the grants?
Through you, Mr. President. Yes, it's been, it was the exact same amount in 2017. 16, it was similar. I'm not sure the exact number, but it was within, a few thousand.
Great. Can you give me a sense of how many nonprofits are funded and more importantly, how many are not?
Sure. We receive numerous applications. We actually we're reviewing them now, and we'll come back to the board at a later date to recommend those awards. The gamut, it depends on the year. Typically, we try to fund as many as we can, and normally we try to get a wide range to represent the various municipalities throughout the county, but it does vary year per year, and hopefully this year it'll be similar to the past years with that.
What would you say would be the range of the average grant?
I would say in the $10,000 to $16,000 area, somewhere in there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Freeholder Palmaris. Additional questions or comments? Hearing or seeing none, do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
I'll second.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions number 19 and 20. We'll read those into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, can you please explain resolutions number 19 and 20?
Mr. President, number 19 is a community development funding for roadway construction of Scotland Road from our Departments of Public Works in the amount of $321,440 for Scotland Road in Orange repaving. Number 20 is, again, a temporary appropriation from the Division of Housing and Community Development for improvements to Riverbank Park, some park and ball field, the basketball courts, and the tennis courts. It's a $500,000 grant from Community Development.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Palavecchio?
Yes. Mr. Jackson, in number 19, the Scotland Road project, is that a project that is yet to be bid out or planned, or is this a payment for something or reimbursement for something that's already done
It will be a project that we hope to get done in 2018.
in 2018? Thank you.
Excellent. Freeholders, any additional comments or questions? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Luciano,
Second.
second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to resolution number 21. Madam Clerk will read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, can you please explain the resolution?
Mr. President, this is another temporary emergency appropriation of a grant, and Ms. Fishman is here to explain.
Eileen Fishman, Deputy Director, Community Health Services. Good evening, Mr. President and freeholders. This grant is for the Essex County Municipal Alliances. I know you're familiar with them. We have, out of 22 municipalities, we have now 21 municipalities participating because we have just begun enlisting Newark, which has always been a question and a concern. And so the municipal alliances do prevention and education for alcohol, substance abuse or misuse, and vaping, cigarette smoking, etc.
Palavecchio.
No questions.
Questions or comments? Freeholder Johnson.
Through you, Mr. President, I am just so thankful that Newark is deciding to get on board on this.
Well, we are actually thrilled too. It has taken 3 years that I know of to enlist them to participate, and they have a young woman who's come on board who has worked in this area before and understands what needs to be done, and she's very anxious to do the work. We have allotted a certain amount of money for the programs. We can only hope that everything will run smoothly and she will be allowed to do the work she needs to do.
Well, thank you for your continued effort in pushing them to come on board.
No problem. We would like 100% participation because, as you know, with the opioid and substance use and misuse issue we really need to get to every child in every community. So we're out there fighting every day.
Additional questions or comments? Again, I'll just echo those comments that it's great to see after a period of time that the city is going to be a willing participant It's good. It's, I think, the right move, and I think those have been on the board for some time have been talking about it for quite a bit of time. So, progress. Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Johnson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 22. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 22, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. Dedication by rider to include Essex County Cody Arena enhancement fee of the park fee ordinance as the Essex County Arena Enhancement Fund. As the Essex County Cody Arena Enhancement Fund.
Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolution.
Yes, Mr. President. This item, as well as item 23, are part of the Parks Department, and Mr. Zaitz is here to explain both.
Joshua Zaitz, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President. Number 22.
Mr. Zaitz, for the record, I think we're going to take 22 alone. So we'll do 22 and 23 individually.
Again, Joshua Zaitz, Essex County Parks. Number 22 is related to the fee ordinance that the board approved earlier tonight. Within that fee packet was a $25 Cody Arena Enhancement Fund that was going to be used for anybody who rents ice time for private skate events. So this would be the mechanism that you would use in order to actually collect those funds.
Thank you.
Right. Josh hit it on the head. It's just the fiscal mechanism to not only collect it, but then it designates these fees for the specified use in the special fund.
Questions?
Through you, President. Is this adding $25 on for those people that come in as training people, young people and things of that nature for different aspects of hockey and skating?
Through you, Mr. President. It's specifically for if you were, let's say, in a men's league, a men's hockey league, and you were to rent ice time, you would be charged that $25 fee. It wouldn't be for the skaters who come in and they take private lessons. It won't be for that. It's for groups that come in and rent ice, and usually hour blocks. You know, they might rent it for 1 to 3 hours, and they would be charged that fee.
So you're saying it's only for people that come in for a league or tournament?
Well, a tournament would be a little different, but it would be a league practice. It would be a high school practice, things of that nature. It's more geared towards. I shouldn't say geared for. Historically, the ice rental has been more for hockey, but certainly if a figure skating group wanted to come in and run a clinic for an hour or two, they would pay that fee as well.
So this doesn't include the high schools?
If they were to rent the ice time for a practice, it would, yes. But I will add that even with the $25 fee that we're proposing here, the county's ice time is significantly cheaper than neighboring rinks throughout the area.
It is a public facility, right?
Correct.
It's taxpayers' dollars, right?
Correct.
Thank you. I just want to be clear. Josh, I just want to be clear. The group pays the $25. The individuals do not pay. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, there could be a case where an individual might want to rent a block of ice time, and then they would be assessed that. But typically, it would be an organization, a men's league. And just to clarify, Freeholder, Cody Arena is still cheaper than other public facilities throughout the area.
But they still have to pay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Comments, questions? Freeholder Luciano.
Just curious, the $20 fee is for a 1 hour block, or do people, like, what if they rent it for 3 hours? Does that mean it's now 75?
Through you, Mr. President, that is correct. It's 25 per hour.
Do we have a projection yet on what the annual revenue?
Yeah, we're projecting approximately 80,000 it should bring in the year.
And can we give the board some examples of the type of enhancements that the expenditure would then be used for?
The way we're going to set it up is very similar to the South Mountain Recreation Trust Fund in that it could be any kind of improvement to the facility. Something if we need, I don't know, a new AC unit or something like that, we could tap into that. If we wanted to do some landscaping out front, we could tap into that. It's pretty much a catch-all for any kind of improvement.
So then what is the, what is that review process then? How does that work? Would those things come back before the board, or would this essentially be a fund that's at the discretion of the administration? No, it'd be held to the same local public contract laws that other contracts would. So if it's over 17.5, if it's bid, we would have to come to the board for approval. And it's a dedicated fund. Correct. It can only be used for Cody Arena improvements. To go back to my original question, the board, I'm doing my best to channel my best Mr. McInerney in his absence. I guess what I'm hearing from my colleagues is the board, you would still need to come back to the board for some of those improvements. So and maybe this is a question more for, both maybe for the administration and for our council, is the board losing a degree of authority with the way the fund is set up to approve these projects that the fund would be used for?
In my opinion, no, because that's just the funding source. The purchasing mechanism or the contracting mechanism, again, if it was something that would come before the board, if it was coming out of capital, it would still come before this board if the funding source is this dedicated fund. We do that, think about it, things that are funded out of Open Space Trust Fund come before this board when the contracts for engineering or for the construction are being approved, have to be approved by this board. So if you look, sometimes you'll look on the certification of funds that comes as part of the resolution paperwork. You'll see various funds and accounts. Some things come out of capital, some comes out of grants, some come out of trust.
So to follow up, so the distinction between whether these are in the general funds that come through the annual appropriation of the budget versus a dedicated revenue, the board still would retain, you believe, its same degree of review.
Right. This is simply, it's almost, it's almost like a use fee. So somebody who's using that facility, the money would then go back into, or the money is dedicated to go back into that facility only. It wouldn't be there to generate funds for, let's say, the zoo or for outside this building. It would have to be used to enhance that actual space that's being used.
Further questions, freeholders? Okay, I'm a mover in a second on resolution number 22.
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Pomeris. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Leading to resolution 23. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 23, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Contract Award to Central Nebraska Packing, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to furnish and deliver supplemental frozen, live, animals and live animal food for Turtleback Zoo for 2018, amount not to exceed $75,000.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Zates.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, the Turtleback Zoo uses several food sources slash vendors for various food items. This one was bid. Central Nebraska Packing was the lowest bidder for these particular items for frozen live animal food, and they're used for various animals throughout the zoo.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchia.
No questions.
Freeholders? Questions or comments? Just a quick question on the two bids. Do we know what the amount was on the bid that was not chosen? It wasn't included in, or at least I didn't see it.
Julius Coultry, purchasing agent. Mr. President, we can get you that information if you're looking for it. There was only two bids, like we said, and Nebraska was the lowest responsible bidder at that particular time.
Okay.
But we'd be glad to get it for you.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second for resolution? Moved by Freeholder Seabold.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Moving to resolution number 24. Madam Clerk, can you please read the resolution?
Resolution 24, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, contract award for Pierciano Giordano Construction, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for Grover Cleveland Park Playground Improvements, 150-day agreement, amount not to exceed $899,945.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir. This is we're very excited about another major park improvement we're making. Ms. Vera is here from Paserno Giordano to explain about the project. One of 5 bids that were received, and her company was the lowest. And again, she's here to explain the project.
Good evening, Nina Vera, Paserno Giordano Construction.
Can you ask her to speak into that?
Sorry, can you just speak into the
Sure.
microphone?
I'm a
Thank you.
little short.
Just and give your name and affiliation for the record again.
Nina Vera, Paserno Giordano Construction. We were awarded Grover Cleveland Park. We're very excited to do the work. It's a park renovation to include a playground, rubber surfacing, some concrete work, a drinking fountain. It's revamping the entire park to renovate everything with new equipment and furnishings.
Parlavecchio?
This is replacing an existing playground area?
Yes.
Modernizing?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Questions or comments from the board? Vice President Richardson.
Yes. Where's your company located?
We're located in Kenilworth, New Jersey, in Union County.
Do you employ any Essex County residents?
I believe there's 1 or 2. I would have to double check.
Please do. Any minorities in the company?
Yes.
Okay. Please get us that information.
Sure.
Any additional questions or comments from the board? These are, Mr. Jackson, through coming out of operating. We just wanted, a question I think is, are these being charged against the $6 million in capital that's included in this year's
Yes.
budget? This is part of that?
Yes.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments? Madam Clerk, you'll make sure we get the answers to those questions, to Vice President Richardson's question.
Yes, Mr. President, Medina has taken down notes for all requests for additional information, and we will send a memo to administration requesting answers.
Thank you. Seeing or hearing no further questions or comments, do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebel. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, we will take resolutions 25 and 26 together. We will read them into a record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, resolutions 25 and 26.
Mr. President, these are from Department of Economic Development, Training, and Employment, and Mr. Soares is here to give you an explanation.
Good evening. Good evening. John Soares from the Division of Housing Community Development. The Division of Housing Community Development provides grants to municipalities, service agencies to help low and moderate income individuals within our consortium. The current projects are extensions to complete projects that have not been finished, and we're on the CDBG, we're looking for through May 31st. On the HESG, we're looking for through March 31st, and those is to help homelessness.
Mr. Palavecchio?
I don't have any questions on these.
Freeholders? Hearing and seeing none, we have a mover and a second on resolution number 25 and 26.
So moved, Mr. President. Or second. Sorry, my apologies.
Moved by Freeholder Pomares. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We can take resolutions number 27, 28, and 29 together, and we will read those into a record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, resolutions 27, 28, and 29.
These are three sub-grant agreements with the Division of Community Action, and Mr. Brown is here to elaborate.
Maurice Brown, Director of the Division of Community Action. Yes, these three, 27, 28, and 29, these are the three agencies that are referred to Resolution 10. These are the three CAP agencies that are involved with after-school various programs, Irvington, Montclair, and East Orange. As you can see, Irvington has come up quite a bit over the last couple of years, because they have taken on more of the programs similar to what East Orange and Montclair are doing. So that's why everyone is pretty much the same amount.
No questions.
Freeholders? So, these are sub-grant agreements. They were already in the budget, and now we're just allocating to the vendors.
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. Freeholders, motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Freeholder Jones. Moved by Freeholder Jones, second. Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. going to take resolution number 30 alone. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 30, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, contract award to the two lowest responsive and responsible bidders for item on a unit cost basis to provide psychological examinations February 15, 2018 through February 14, 2020, amount not to exceed $306,250.
Mr. Jackson, can you please explain the resolution?
Yes, Mr. President. These two professionals are going to provide us with various psychological examinations through a 2-year period, and Doctors Fenari and Schlosser are here to answer your questions.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Susan Fenari. I am a licensed psychologist in the state of New Jersey and a lifelong Essex County resident. I have been providing psychological services to the County of Essex, I hate to say this, but since about 1985. And I have done both pre-employment evaluations as well as fitness for duty evaluations.
Thank you, Mr. Polavecchio. Any questions?
Yeah, Dr. Fenari, just, and I don't know if this is directed at you or the administration, there's items, this is separated as items 1 and 2. What's the difference between the two services?
I'm assuming that you mean there's pre-employment evaluations and then fitness for duty evaluations?
Which one are you have one item and the other doctor is doing different.
Oh, yes.
Which one are you doing?
I have, starting on February 15th, I have the fitness for duty evaluations.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Would you like the other vendor to, through you, Mr. Jackson, would like the other vendor to state his name, affiliation for the record?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Louis Schlosser. I apologize for my casual attire. I found out about my appearance this morning, and I was in Northfield for the day. I'm the managing partner at the Institute for Forensic Psychology. I'm a licensed psychologist in New York and New Jersey. I'm board certified in police and public safety psychology. Our firm has worked with police and public safety agencies since 1972, including several in Essex County, including the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, the Essex County Police Academy, East Orange, Irvington, Montclair, several others, South Orange as well. I'm also a former professor from Seton Hall University, so I'm very familiar with Essex County.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Polavecchio?
No questions.
Freeholders? Probably a question for both vendors, but are there any inconsistencies or concerns using two different vendors? Did we lose anything in that process?
From my opinion, no, because the two items on your budget are asking for two different things. The service allotted to us is a pre-employment, meaning a candidate, and the service allotted to Dr. Fenari, the fitness for duty, deals with employees. So they're very sort of different animals.
Okay. Dr. Fenari?
I would have to agree. I have done both evaluations for many years. I do find that when I am presented with a fitness for duty evaluation on someone that I have previously done a pre-employment, there is some consistency in that process, since I do have a history with that person. However, I don't think that there's any issue with doing them separately.
Okay. And through you, Mr. Jackson, where do we keep these records or files? Where are they maintained?
They're kept in a two separate area within human resources, not in the same area as their personnel files.
As a personnel. Okay. Okay.
And if I may, Mr. President,
Sure.
just for the record, to note that Dr. Fenari is a certified WBE.
Okay. Questions or comments?
Yes. Could the gentleman come back up to the...
Sure. I'd ask, can the vendors remain at the microphone until we take the vote? Thank you. Freeholder Johnson?
Through you, President.
Yes, sir.
with you doing your evaluations, you said for public safety officers and things of that nature, do you find yourself sometime in a borderline position on some, and how do you finish that decision out? Because you're either going to fail him or you're going to say, okay, he's okay. How do you come to that conclusion when you have a borderline? And I know you've probably had many candidates that have sat before you, and you said, well, he's not cuckoo, but he's, you know. Can you kind of explain how you come up with those decisions on some? Because I was working for the senator, state senator, and a lot of officers at times have came to our office saying about the evaluations, and they had to go and get their own evaluation from a private person and came back with it. How do you handle those situations?
Well, in our particular firm, we're a group practice, so my partner, Dr. Gawler, and I are the managing partners, and we have a number of professional staff who work with us. So any of the staff who work under us, if there's ever a question about a candidate's suitability for a position, they know to come to one of us to discuss the matter. So having a group practice benefits with multiple sets of eyes. So our business is called the Institute for Forensic Psychology for a reason, meaning that the data drive the decision. So in looking at a candidate's suitability, I need to be able to state with certainty that this person is good for the position that they are seeking, or they're not. And if they're not, I need to be able to kind of defend that position in a legal or quasi-legal setting. So if I am going to say no to someone, I'm going to be very certain about it, and I'm going to be able to support that decision to some third-party scrutiny to make sure that I'm not unjustly impacting somebody's life.
Okay. Freeholders, additional comments or questions? Do I have a mover and a second on resolution number 30?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Moved by Freeholder Seabold, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please lead resolution number 31?
Resolution 31, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, Contract Award with Gone Law Books to provide law books and periodicals, 24-month agreement, amount not to exceed $150,000.
Mr. Jackson, could you please explain resolution number 31?
Mr. President, this is a 24-month contract to provide law books and periodicals primarily for the county council, prosecutor's office, and the jail, but for any county agency that might need the books. It's a 2-year agreement through a non-fair and open bidding process.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Parlavecchio?
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Jackson did mention that this was these are purchased through a non-fair and open process. This is a bid exempt item.
Okay. Freeholders, questions or comments? Hearing or seeing none, do we have a mover?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Pomares. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 32. Madam Clerk, can you please read the resolution?
Resolution 32, the Office of the Sheriff, contract award to Atlantic Tactical to provide ammunition and accessories for the Essex County Sheriff's Office under state contract number 1 NJCP H1297 and number 1 NJCP 81319 and number 1 NJCP 81329, amount not to exceed $22,895.65.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is a contract to provide firearms, ammunition for our Sheriff's Department. It is under a state contract, and again, the amount is $22,895.65, and this vendor is in compliance with your ordinance 2015-00014.
Thank you for that, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Palavecchio?
No questions.
Additional comments or questions from the board?
Mr. President?
Freeholder Palmaris.
Thank you. This doesn't, is this for temporary, for part of the temporary budget, or is this for the year? It seems like a relatively small amount for a large department. I'm just kind of curious.
It's not for the entire year, but we'll be coming back probably later in the year for more.
Okay, so this is a multiple request on here. Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you very much for the clarification.
Okay. Thank you, Freeholder Palmaris. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing or hearing none, do we have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
A second.
Moved by Freeholder Luciano and second by Freeholder Mercado. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Roll call, please.
Okay, Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 33, can you please read it into the record?
Resolution 33, Department of Health and Rehabilitation, Division of Hospital Center, 2-year affiliation agreement with Seton Hall University College of Nursing.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is a renewal of an agreement. It is a 2-year agreement. It's beneficial to both the school and the hospital center to provide students with an opportunity for some real-life hands-on experience, and the school, the university, covers the cost of the insurance for the students.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Palavecchio.
And Mr. Jackson, there's no cost to the county on this, correct?
Through you, Mr. President, that's correct.
And I believe we do this with not only Seton Hall, but some other schools, and have been doing it for a long, long time.
Montclair, Caldwell, yeah, a number of them.
Thanks.
Thank you. Freeholders, comments or questions? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Sebold.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions number 34 through 43, with the exception of number 35. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one you want.
Do we have, freeholders, do we have any questions or comments? Freeholder Sebold.
If possible, I'd like to be included on number 36 and 39.
36 is Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
39 also? Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And 35 has been withdrawn?
No.
Just from this vote.
Just from this vote.
Just from this vote?
Yeah,
from this vote.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Counsel?
Yeah, this will just be a vote on 34 and then 36 through 43, and I think we'll go back to 35 individually.
Because I'd like to be included on 35, so I should wait on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
President,
Bill
I'd like to
Mercado.
be included on 36 and 39 as well.
Not a problem. Everybody wants to do via acclamation, that's fine.
Okay, why don't we move, why don't we move 36 and 39?
By acclamation, Mr. President.
Any objections, freeholders, 36 and 39? By acclamation?
Yes.
Okay. Any further comments or questions on 34 through 43, again with the exception of number 35? Can I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel,
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson,
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado,
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson,
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Through you, Madam Clerk, are we taking 35, or 35 has been
We're going to take it.
Want to take it separately.
taken
wanted to-
separately?
Mr. President, you requested that that be removed, and you wanted to take that one separately, 35.
Okay. That must be getting old.
That's a good thing.
That's probably, yeah. Would you like to read resolution number 35 into the record?
Yes, Mr. President. Resolution 35, a resolution in support of a 2018 moratorium on foreclosures in New Jersey, sponsored by Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Freeholder Vice President Richardson, would you like to speak to this resolution?
Sure, being that Essex County is has one of the highest foreclosures, well, probably in the state and one of the worst in the country. There's a bill, an assembly bill, that was moving through. I think it's going to be reintroduced, or it's being reintroduced by Assemblywoman Tucker, and I can't remember who the other sponsor is. But everyone recognizes just how bad foreclosures are in the Garden State, and trying to get the banks to renegotiate and stop putting people out of their homes. So we're certainly in support of that, and I hope each and every one of our Freeholder colleagues can get behind and support this moratorium.
Thank you. Freeholder Johnson.
Freeholder Richards, Vice President, I would like to co-sponsor that.
Absolutely.
I'd like to do it by acclamation, if we can.
Acclamation.
Okay. We will, with your permission, Vice President Richardson, we will take resolution number 35 by acclamation.
Absolutely. Just a quick update. There was a meeting with Reverend Green, who most of you know worked with our now Governor Murphy, and he's setting up a meeting with the Attorney General to really discuss this issue. So if any of you, once I get the dates and get the information, if you would like to attend and you're able, I'll certainly get the information to you.
Thank you.
Excellent. I'm sorry, Freeholder.
I just want to add on with this moratorium. We can't forget, one of the persons who was in the forefront of this was our past president, Brittany. We've had many of the banks, and especially Wells Fargo and some of the others who are predators of Irvington areas. I'm happy, Derek, and you working together, which I've known Derek for years, but something needs to be done. Now, I don't know about your suburban area because I live in an urban area, but something needs to be done, and whomever the governor or whatever we can do as a freeholder board, I am more than happy to participate, because it's not fair for poor working people to fall on hard times and their life savings, which is an investment to them, go up in smoke. Thank you.
So through you, Mr. President, sure. I share your concerns and your heartfelt feelings about this issue, but no one's exempt. It happens in suburbia as well. Everybody, there's people losing their houses everywhere, and a lot of it has to do with the predatory loans from these various banks. So, yeah, no one's exempt.
Thank you. Thank you, Freeholder Jones. Thank you, Vice President Richardson. We'll take number 35 by acclamation, and I'll also ask that I'm sure Vice President Richardson will be happy to share with the clerk the date of that meeting with the entire board that's happening with the
As soon as I get it.
with the Attorney General.
I will
Okay.
definitely get it.
Do I have a mover and a second on resolution number 35?
I'll move it.
Okay. Moved by Vice President Richardson, second by Freeholder Siebold. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm going to, at this time, move back to resolution number 1. Mr. Parlavecchio.
Yes, I'd recommend, if we want to have Ms. Bolden here, we move to adjourn, we need a motion to adjourn this resolution to our next meeting, which I think is February 21st. We just need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Vice President Richardson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have a report of board committees? Freeholders, do we have any reports of board committees? Legislative reports? Written communications? Are there any written communications? Freeholders, do you have any unfinished business? Freeholders, do you have any new business? Okay, Madam Clerk, let's go to public comment. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any matter, please come to the microphone and state your name, address, and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
All right, my name is Halashan Sianapar. I live at 890 South 16th Street in Newark, and I guess my affiliation is New Jersey Communities United. I heard you guys talk about the foreclosure moratorium. That's basically what I'm talking about is foreclosures. I live in the South Ward. New Jersey has the highest foreclosure rate in the country, and Essex County has the highest rate of foreclosure in the state. Many Newark families struggle to make ends meet, but are frequently pushed out of their homes through toxic predatory loans. I see the result of the foreclosure crisis all around my neighborhood. There's about a dozen vacant homes on my block. They attract rodents, trash, and crime. One vacant caught on fire in the fall. Nearby in Irvington, 3 houses caught on fire last week. The fire started in a vacant home and then spread to 2 other houses with families living in them. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but now we have 2 homeless families and 3 vacant homes. The big banks are responsible for this crisis, like Wells Fargo, have not complied with Essex County's responsible banking ordinance. These banks don't fear the consequences of their behavior. So we at New Jersey Communities United demand that the county fully divest in its fund from non-compliant banks. We further demand that the Essex County Board of Freeholders enforce their own responsible banking ordinance. You must prioritize attendance where banks make required presentations. When you do not attend, you are sending the message to banks that you are not interested in enforcement. You're also telling us, the residents of Essex County, that you're not concerned about predatory lending, illegal foreclosures, fake accounts, community reinvestment, or the foreclosure crisis. A bill was recently introduced to the legislature, NJS 885, that calls for the establishment of a state bank whose services are accessible to all public entities. The county must get behind a public bank in New Jersey. A public state bank can set a new standard for how banking should happen in our state for the benefit of communities like ours. The county must use its power and influence to support this effort and divest from banks whose policies continue to harm our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to be heard? Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record indicate that there is no one wishing to speak at this time. Freeholders, do you have any additional comments that you would like to make?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Through you, President, I would like to echo the sentiments of that young man of us not letting this go because the former president put us on a firm footing to continue this. And this is something that, like Vice President said, this is not just in the urban communities in our settings. This is in the suburban areas also. And I think we owe it to the public that we all represent to step forward to make sure that at least the playing field is being played right. So I agree with the young man up there. We didn't do that just for the sake of saying we did something great. Because bottom line is results. What kind of results are we going to get from us stepping up like we did for that? Now is the time for us to continue to push that through, like former President set out, and let's make that happen for some of the families that we all represent. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Freeholder Johnson. Yes, Freeholder McCobb.
Can we ascertain if there, what existing banks that the county does business with that are not following said ordinances that are in statute today?
I think the answer is yes, and I think that if that's a question and a request of the administration, I'm sure we can provide that information. So we'll make sure that the administration provides that to you.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President.
Yep, Freeholder Johnson.
I think that the newer freeholders should be brought up to speed on that ordinance that was done,
okay.
And so that they'll know going forward.
So through you, Freeholder Johnson, I'm going to request that our board council prepare memorandum for all the freeholders outlining what the ordinance is, what it did or what it intends to do. Excuse me, and also what it calls on for the board to do and for the administration to do in order to be in compliance. In terms of being in compliance with the the resolution, the ordinance, the message that you brought, hear you loud and clear, and the ordinance is hopefully one. This is a large issue that's going to require local, state, and national attention. So we are committed, I think, to making sure that it just wasn't an ordinance that was passed and then we forget about it. There's follow-up steps, and I'll make sure that the board is completely updated on what those steps should be and who's responsible to take them. Freeholder Jones.
I'm concerned, I don't know whether this is the appropriate time, but Mr. James Harris came before us with many concerns as it relates to us in Essex County and the duties of the administration as well as the legislators. Mm-hmm. And I have not received any report back from whomever is supposed to go through that list and let us know what is taking place in the county. Mm-hmm. For the simple reason, we represent the taxpayers and the residents mm-hmm. of Essex County, and it's no more than right that they should have the answer that they are asking for. It's not, if it's illegal, this is something different, but I don't see where it's nothing about it is illegal, and that these are simple questions, either you're doing it or you're not, mm-hmm. and if not, why not? And then the second thing is during budget deliberation, mm-hmm. when I talked about sensitivity, now I don't know mm-hmm. with the sheriff department, mm-hmm. now I don't know whether you follow through with it or mm-hmm. whom is supposed to follow through with it, because this, I have just begun. And I just yep. need to know where we at and where we going, and I'm willing to sidebar or whatever, and you can tell me as to what is going on, because I believe sensitivity in dealing with all types of communities and people, yep. and we need, this is the 21st century, yep. and things are different 50 years ago mm-hmm. or 30 years ago. Yep. So we need to stay up with the time. Policing, 30 years, take something, bust your side your head, whoever you were was nothing said. Mm-hmm. These days are over. So I would like to know, what are we going to do in terms as legislators mm-hmm. to make sure that the citizens, mm-hmm. or all citizens, mm-hmm. are treated equally as opposed to regions or ethnicity, well, whatever. That is one of the things I want us to stick to. Those are two of my concerns.
Okay, thank you, Freeholder Jones. I'll take the second question first. I know there was a series of questions that you raised with the Sheriff's Department. I don't believe that those questions yet have been answered or submitted, so I didn't see them in the packet, Madam Clerk, yet, so I'm assuming that those questions have been submitted, through the Sheriff's Department, and that Freeholder Jones will get answers to the questions that were raised during the budget hearing.
I will make sure of that,
Okay.
Mr. President.
Thank you. As far as the same goes for the first questions that were raised, those questions were on during public comment session that were raised by Mr. Harris, and I assume that those questions have been submitted and are being worked on.
Through
Mr.
you,
President, if I may,
Sure.
the questions that we've, as late as the latest one, which was January 24th, the last meeting,
Okay.
we've responded to every question that was asked of us. So
Gotcha.
that came from the public comment sessions.
Were those just help me understand? Thank you, Ms. Jackson. And so through both you, Madam Clerk, and Mr. Jackson, were Mr. Harris's questions included in the questions that have been submitted to the administration?
Every
Okay.
question is submitted through a memo, Mr. President, and when we receive the answers, we send them out to an email.
I'm not asking a process, Madam Clerk. I'm asking a more specific question. Freeholder Jones is asking about Mr. Harris's questions. Were they answered and included in our Freeholder packet?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw the questions, but I didn't see the answers.
Okay, so we will.
I saw questions that he asked,
So
but
this-
I didn't get the answers. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no problem. So for the benefit of the meeting right now, it sounds like
Yeah.
that we'll talk about the administrative piece of this
Okay.
separately, but I want to make sure, Freeholder Jones, that you get those,
Thank
get
you.
those answers, and
Thank
we will follow up.
Okay.
Any other additional comments or questions? Vice President Richardson.
Through you, Mr. President, just back to the banking ordinance, we have the ordinance on the books. So it makes no sense to have the ordinance and we're not gonna follow our own ordinance. So they make really good points. So we need to definitely look at that and see what action we can actually take. Because some of those banks, I have some information where they're banned from doing businesses in some other states. And we definitely need to take a look at that. That's how bad they are in other states. I'm just saying.
So I think through you, Mr. Vice President, I think that the place to start would be to get a memorandum again from our council about those steps that we should be taking to make sure that we are in compliance, whether those steps are to be taken by the Freeholder Board or by the administration for calendar year 2018, as it pertains to the introduction of state legislation for the creation of a public bank. What I will do to follow up is I will through the clerk. I think one of the quickest things we can do is maybe pass a support resolution in support of the legislation. So I'll make sure that everyone gets a copy of a potential resolution and of that legislation, so the board can also look at it. I believe that legislation was just introduced, that state legislation, probably only about a week ago. So if it's the will of the board, and I'm happy to sponsor that, we'll immediately pass a resolution in our capacity as freeholders supporting the passage of that bill. Is there anything, Mr. Belvecchia, that you'd like to add or
No, I will summarize and prepare a memo so everybody understands what our ordinance is and what the board's power is under that ordinance and under the state and federal banking laws. Oh, yeah. That's at minimum that they attend the meeting.
I think at the minimum, the appearance, Vice President Richardson and Freeholder Jones at a minimum is serve as an appearance that, board members will have opportunity to question, some of those lenders directly. Okay, any further comments or questions? I just wanted to also thank the administration for making Mr. Brown available for a meeting on I guess regarding homelessness in our Bloomfield Montclair corridor, and we'll be following up for sure. So thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Move it.